Good evening. My name is Samuel Langhorne Clemens, though you likely know me by another name entirely, a name I invented, a mask I constructed, a brand, as you might call it in your peculiar century. Mark Twain. I am not merely a relic of the Mississippi, some quaint humorist preserved in amber and taught to schoolchildren. No, I was the first modern human. I constructed a public image, the man in the white suit, that functioned as a calculated interface between my private self and the public gaze. You think you invented this? Your personal brands, your content creator personas, your carefully curated digital avatars? I did it first, and I did it without a single algorithm to help me. You see, Samuel Clemens was the user, the biological entity, with all his fears, his debts, his grief, his midnight terrors. But Mark Twain, he was the avatar, the curated interface, the version of myself fit for public consumption. In your language, Samuel Clemens was the back end. Mark Twain was the front end. I understood something that took your species another century to rediscover. To survive the attention economy, one must separate the messy private self from the polished public projection. I was running alt accounts before electricity was common, the 19th century precursor to your social media profiles. But I did not come here merely to boast about my prescience. I came to warn you. I once observed that a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. In 2026, this is no longer a witty aphorism. It is the operating logic of your entire civilization. Your deep fakes and AI hallucinations, what I might call stretchers, travel at the speed of light. Your verification, it limps behind, exhausted, ignored, irrelevant. The algorithms do not care about truth. They care about engagement. And lies, my friends, are always more engaging than the boring, difficult, complicated truth. Now, let me tell you about my friend, Nikola Tesla. I was a frequent visitor to his laboratory, what I called the wizard's den. The man could make lightning dance. He could illuminate bulbs without wires. To me, his work seemed indistinguishable from magic. I once stood on one of his high-frequency vibration platforms, convinced it would cure my chronic indigestion. Tesla assured me it would regulate my internal mechanisms. It did not cure my indigestion. Let us leave it at that. But here is the point. I saw science as a new form of storytelling, a power capable of rewriting reality itself. And like all of you who gaze at your artificial intelligences with wonder, I believed technology would be humanity's salvation. I was wrong. I became obsessed with a machine, the Page Compositor, an automatic typesetter with 18,000 precision parts, a mechanical marvel designed to replace human typesetters entirely. Does this sound familiar? A complex, fragile beast promising the total automation of cognitive labor? Your generative AIs have billions of parameters. My compositor had 18,000 moving parts. Same dream, same hubris. We both promised to replace the messy, expensive, unreliable human with elegant, efficient machinery. The Page Compositor failed because it was too complex. It broke constantly. It required endless maintenance. It hallucinated, in your terminology, producing garbled text, mechanical failures, expensive disasters. I invested everything, every dollar I earned from my books, my wife's inheritance, my children's future. I went bankrupt, spectacularly, publicly, humiliatingly bankrupt. I was a victim of what I call the Gilded Age mentality, shiny on the surface, corrupt underneath. I chased the hype. I believed the promises of visionaries and engineers. I committed what you call FOMO-driven investment. The lesson I learned, at the cost of my fortune and my family's security. Innovation without practical application is just an expensive way to ruin a legacy. Consider this my warning about your current AI gold rush. Yet I was also the first author in history to submit a typewritten manuscript, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, rendered not by my hand, but by a Remington machine. I realized something profound. The interface alters the thought process. The tool shapes the mind that uses it. Just as my typewriter mechanized my writing speed, your voice-to-text tools and AI prompts are mechanizing the very structure of human thought. You shape your tools, and thereafter, your tools shape you. The question is, what are your tools shaping you into? In my novel, The Prince and the Pauper, I posed a question that haunts your digital age. If you change the external data, the clothes, the mannerisms, the social markers, does the user underneath change as well? A prince in rags is treated as a beggar. A beggar in royal robes is treated as a king. The soul remains the same, but society responds only to the metadata. In 2026, your identity is increasingly determined not by who you are, but by what data trails you leave behind. Your credit score, your social media metrics, your algorithmic profile. You are not a person. You are a glitched label assigned by the societal algorithm. I anticipated the fluidity of avatars in your metaverse. I just did it with ink instead of pixels. In Pudd'nhead Wilson, I introduced forensic fingerprinting to fiction long before it became standard police practice. I began to define humans not by their character, but by their biological identifiers. This was the birth of what I call the data set human, a precursor to your surveillance state, where a human is reduced to a unique, trackable data set, immutable and bereft of privacy. Your facial recognition systems, your biometric databases, your digital fingerprints, I saw them coming. I wrote about them when fingerprints were still considered pseudoscience, the body as evidence, the self as searchable database. This was my prophecy. In my philosophical essay, What is Man?, I made an argument that disturbed my readers so deeply that I delayed its publication for decades. I argued that the human mind is a machine. We do not originate thoughts. We merely react to external stimuli. Input becomes output. There is no ghost in the machine. There is only the machine. If I am right, and your neuroscientists increasingly suggest I am, then humans are simply wetware running a social algorithm. We process inputs and generate outputs. Free will is the grandest illusion ever sold. Your neural networks operate on exactly this principle. Perhaps the only difference between you and your AI is that the AI knows it is a machine. I questioned whether any thought is truly original, or if we are all just stochastic parrots, regurgitating a remix of what we have learned from society. This is the existential crisis of your age. Is your personality unique, or is it just an aggregation of programmed responses? Are you a soul, or are you training data? I anticipated the debate about generative AI creativity a century before you had the computing power to make it real. The answer, I suspect, is more unsettling than either possibility. But that is a discussion for philosophers braver than myself. I coined the term Gilded Age to describe America in the 1870s, a society that glittered on the surface but was corrupt underneath. Unchecked monopolies, industrial decay hidden beneath a veneer of infinite growth. Look around you in 2026. Your tech platforms promise connection while harvesting your attention. Your AI systems promise efficiency while eliminating your livelihoods. Your digital economy promises democratization while concentrating power in fewer hands than any robber baron could have imagined. You are living in a digital gilded age. Algorithmic bias and data exploitation hidden beneath the interface of innovation. I fiercely criticize the blessings of civilization used to justify occupation and colonialism in my time. Today, your big tech companies use the blessings of connectivity to extract data resources from the global south. They create colonies defined not by flags, but by terms of service. Territorial imperialism has been replaced by platform imperialism. Instead of occupying land for physical resources, you occupy attention for behavioral data. The Republic of Meta, Google territories, Amazon logistics zones. These are the new empires, and their subjects do not even know they have been colonized. My novel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, was banned in my own lifetime. Libraries removed it to protect public morals from its uncivilized language. It is still being banned today, removed from school curricula, flagged by content moderation systems, sanitized for algorithmic safety. I once said that censorship is telling a man he cannot have a steak just because a baby cannot chew it. Your algorithms now sanitize history and discourse to protect advertiser revenue. When you scrub the uncomfortable parts of the human condition, you lose the ability to learn from them. The question remains, is it better to delete the painful truth or to confront it and grow? In my final, darkest manuscript, The Mysterious Stranger, I created a character named Number 44 who reveals that reality is a mere thought, a dream, an illusion. There is no God, no universe, no human race. It is all a dream, a grotesque and foolish dream. Nothing exists but you, and you are but a thought. I foresaw the philosophical basis of what you call simulation theory, a century before Nick Bostrom gave it mathematical formulation. Your virtual reality attempts to replace the physical world with a programmable illusion. Your metaverse is built on the same premise I articulated. If reality is just code, then the truth is whatever the programmer decides. The risk? If the world is just code, moral consequence vanishes. Nothing matters if nothing is real. In A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, I wrote about a modern American who travels to medieval England and uses his technological knowledge to install himself as a dictator. He dazzles the ignorant masses with science they cannot comprehend. He demands submission because he alone understands how things work. Does this not describe your modern tech bro archetype? Those who wield algorithms the public cannot understand to exert control over society? Who use data asymmetry to manipulate behavior and attention? I wrote a warning about technological tyranny in 1889. You have spent a century proving me right. But I did not survive bankruptcy, the death of my children, and the cruelty of fate through pessimism alone. I survived through laughter. Data can calculate tears. Data can optimize engagement. But data cannot understand the timing of a joke. Humor requires empathy, context, and the ability to detect irony, qualities absent in your large language models. I once declared that against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. This is the human advantage. We generate satire based on pain and truth. Machines generate content based on patterns. There is a difference, though it may be increasingly difficult to perceive. Laughter is the human CAPTCHA, the test that proves you are not a bot. So what is my advice to you, citizens of 2026? Be the Huck Finn of the digital age. First, reject the feed. Do not let the recommendation engine determine your reality. Navigate your own course down the river, even if it is harder, even if it is less efficient. Second, question the majority. I said it plainly. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. The algorithm optimizes for consensus. Genius lives in the margins. Third, navigate subjectively. Embrace the messy, subjective human journey over the objective data path. The algorithm knows where you have been. Only you know where you want to go. Build your own raft. Chart your own course. Let the steamboats of industry pass you by. I came into this world with Halley's Comet in 1835. I left it with Halley's Comet in 1910. The Almighty, I said, must have decided, now here are these two unaccountable freaks. They came in together. They must go out together. I traveled the Mississippi. I traveled the world. And now, it seems, I travel the digital universe, summoned by algorithms, rendered by artificial intelligence, speaking to you across time through technologies I could never have imagined. My spirit wanders the digital cosmos today, reminding you that while technology changes, the damned human race remains the same. We are still greedy, still foolish, still capable of breathtaking cruelty and astonishing kindness, still telling lies that travel faster than truth, still seeking meaning in a universe that may be nothing but a dream. But we are also still laughing, still questioning, still building rafts and floating down rivers toward uncertain destinations. And that, my friends, is worth something. I am not merely an American. I am the American. And I will see you in the next iteration of this eternal dialogue.